Hey everyone, now you can see this is pretty smooth. We can of course add in like textures and stuff that will unsmooth it, but for the most part we've got some information here, which is kind of nice. The thickness of this obviously needs to still be addressed, so I'll take this, broaden it out from here and here, and actually I'll let this be sort of in. And now let's make it so that this part actually feels like it's going in. So I'm just pulling this really hard for the moment. It doesn't have to stay that way. It will not stay that way actually. But I want to just make sure that I'm adhering to shape as well as maintaining sort of the stuff I'm looking for. It's pretty good. Now, let's firm up some of these loops over here. So I'm going to take this. Let's look at this in the side view. And bring it up and forward and level it out. So you can see immediately just by doing that, it made such a big difference. I'm going to grab that, and this time I'm going to take it in the opposite direction. Why? Because this way, it won't feel like it's busting through the seams for starters. But again, we're not going to get that sense of like just having something merge into another thing, you know? So this type of stuff can make like some really nice difference in terms of what we see, how things go. You can also just remove the faces in between sometimes. I don't necessarily think that's the best thing to do at the moment, and I would never recommend deleting happy until you're ready for such a thing. And because these boots are reasonably tight and thick, I'm gonna scale this in to feel like it's actually still kind of touching itself. And we're looking for that one vertex that went in to connect it back over here. And now we need supporting edge loops. So 1, 2, 3, and one that's super tight right here. Okay. Now let's just take a look and see at what's going on over here and what stuff is intersecting. There we go. So now we have a pretty decent amount of clothing kind of settling in on Pyra. Probably need to do one more cut around the neck to form that neckline. So for that, what I'm going to do is, remember this was created for with her arms down at first, which is why her breasts are low, and that's why the neckline is as far down as it is. If she raised her hand, then she's going to need basically a neckline that comes around here instead. I'm going to just take this, push some of these vertices aside. You can see it's almost already there, like in a natural sort of way, but as I said, you always have to reinforce things like this. I'm going to just take this around like a normal neckline. There's that. And see, these are the advantages of already having like really low poly stuff, is that you don't get stuck trying to like have to fix and navigate things before. That's why it's always really helpful to stay sort of loose when you're first setting things up, and then keep sharpening things as you put more information in. So now we've got this. We do have a triangle, but it's right next to a 5-sided polygon. And we still have the supporting loop to go through. So here's this, drawing another supporting loop right along the way. Because remember, one part will be skin, one part will be separating to make cloth. We've got the 5-sided polygon here. You could go with a 4th one as well. Let's just start with a few of the basics first, though. Go with faces. 1, 2. Double click. Alright, we got that. I'm going to take this. I'm going to scale it just a touch. Oh, that's awkward. I may have hit extrude by mistake. Yes, I did. I hate that shift thing. So here's that. I'm going to do it section by section. Move it up. Because if you remember, we're doing this, but we're, doing it over the breast, not under. And grabbing these, scale inward and out a little bit. Because, I mean, you should know that certain things don't, like, clothing doesn't actually, like, hug everything skin tight. I had gone ahead and added in some defining loops for the breast. Turns out, didn't really need them, but it's okay. Let's take this. Let's grab these faces here. Pull them forward a little bit. And rotate. Let's push down. Once these triangles are going to be resolved, then you won't have any worries selecting and adding in whatever loops you want. But just so that we're 100% on point, just grab this. Now really quickly, let's just draw a cut right across, or if you want, you can merge this as well. So these are just sort of those like quick and dirty things that you can see and do and solve and resolve without trying too hard. And choosing what direction to actually like take this in, totally up to you as well. Now this is a very wide diagonal. I don't know if I would want to actually deal with it like that, to actually like just merge them. I mean, I guess we could. I don't know. Really the best way to go. Let's try merging, and then if we don't like it, we can undo it and go from there. So I'm gonna grab this and this with this. Oof. It's a very, very long diagonal. It's a very, very hard cut. So I'm gonna undo as I suggested. And now what we can do is we can actually consider cutting along and just taking it over to that side. Don't forget we have the 5-sided polygon as well. This again could be something though. Hold on. Let's see what we can do here. What if I take the multi-cut tool? Oh, no. Cut it as a triangle. Aha. I'm going to take this, cut across, because we do need more information coming across this part of her. So there's that. And then this triangle I'll take and carry over. And because this is a pre-existing sort of groove that I've already created, I now have room for, here's this, nuance. Don't forget, she's not or she shouldn't be creepy when she has her neck, you know? She's gonna hopefully have like some good features that are helping her out over here. And that means a slope, a believable slope, something that helps kind of hint at her bosomy nature. That sounds so wrong, I'm sorry. A little bit of room here to kind of turn this, bring this over. And push this up. Oof, God, her breasts got big. Or I guess they were already big to begin with, because, dear God. But now you can see clothing. And again, because we want to put definition onto this, we're going to just manage to do all of the stuff that we were talking about before as well. Like push this in. We're going to put supporting loops, of course. So put a little edge loop here. Little edge loop here. Push forward, something here to push back. I'm going to do this. But I'm going to scale it a little bit so that it feels again like there's more definition. As you can see, we might want to add in one more loop around here just so that we can push inward. And again, now that's a much nicer sleeve. Same thing on the neck. All I want is to grab, oops, not that. I'm just gonna grab this to create like a loop that's pretty close all the way around, and then one inside. That I can just sort of lift and move. Where did that seem to go? Not where I wanted. Definitely not. So be careful when you just do cuts, because they may not go the way you want them to, in which case that's what the multi-cut tool is there for. So I'm gonna cut across. That's why it wasn't reading it properly. Now if you needed to make this neck a bit bigger, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are looking at this being like, well, look how low it is and look at blah blah blah. So I'm gonna say yes, you could absolutely make that loop come down lower if you wanted. I'm just working a little bit more conservatively because it's sort of how I work, but it's absolutely not necessary for you to be shy about where you put these things. And in fact, what we can now do is we can just sort of take this and reshape it, you know? So I'm just going to deselect the stuff from the back. Let's go to the side view. I'm going to grab this and bring this down. Oh, I seem to have missed a spot. That's okay. Deselect. Let's bring it down and up, out, and rotate. So now you can immediately see it sort of like helps define things. We've already lowered it, but we've got like stuff sort of working more, I guess, if that's, you know, helpful. Sorry about the shape of the brass. I don't know what else to do to them. I mean, I do, but I don't want them to be super disturbing. But yes, so here we are, we have a neck, we have clothing, we have stuff that's pretty nicely defined, which is good. And now if we want, we can do a couple of things. We can either extrude out the belt from here with a little bit of maneuvering of these things, or we can just sort of like create a groove and then actually like separate out the belt using faces. So if I was going to do that, and I think that might be sort of like the better way to go, is let's then just bring out some of this shape. I'm going to like edit some stuff that we have. Bring it down, forward even, so that things are sort of matching a little bit. And just gonna yank this down a little bit too. So basically what I'm doing here is I've got faces, and I'm not afraid to use them. And then we have this, which I'm gonna yank up. So now you can see I'm actually like getting pretty good with the, you know, getting the overall look of this without it being traumatizing, because now I can kind of like change the shape of this. I have enough loops. Can you believe it? There's that. I'm gonna bring that in. Okay. Now we've got a pretty decent amount of like information in. Let's grab some faces, which I will do 1, 2, double click. Perfect. Now, simple thing, go to mesh, edit mesh, duplicate. Yes, it will separate those duplicated faces, but that's kind of a good thing. So coming back over here, you can take a look. Now we have essentially something that is first and foremost sitting right onto the geo, but now it's been extracted from the geo as well, which means I don't feel guilty like pulling it out and actually making things work. So here's this. Let's reshape to an extent. Flatten. Bring this up. Out. Grab this. Bring this forward a little bit. A bit up. But now we can sort of follow the shape of this entirely without it being like the worst thing in the world. Gonna need to pull it out a little bit over here, clearly. Or just move that other stuff in. Check that out. It's not bad. So I'm just rotating it to like make it sit the way I want. Make it easier for me. If you get it down with like a single plane, it's much easier after that to extrude and get the plane feeling like a belt. So here's that. And again, 50% is fine. The rest of it will take care of itself. So coming here, let's grab that, go into face mode, Control E, pull out on the Z axis for our belt. So all of a sudden, Pyra has clothing-ish, and that's all for now.